Now, one of the best things about a trip around Australia is finding those remote campsites, and you can stay there longer if you can generate your own power. Now, realistically, batteries are only going to last you a day or two at best, and solar power is completely dependent on the sun. So if you want to keep your fridge going, you want to keep your batteries topped up, and you want to have enough left over for lights and charging your video camera and keeping your laptop running, then you're going to need a generator. But not all generators are created equal. You can buy a generator for less than $200 from most hardware stores, which is a lot less than you're going to pay for something like this Yamaha. But other than the fact that they're both called generators, there really is little in common. The Yamaha is in fact an inverter, and that's the key difference. What that means is it delivers a clean, consistent level of power at 240 volts, which will enable you to run your laptops, your video cameras, battery chargers, and your DVD players and other sensitive electronic devices that really need a clean power. Now, your little cheapy generator is going to deliver a power curve that looks more like this, and the more you load it up, the lower the voltage is going to be, and it's going to be all over the place. So being able to deliver that clean power and keep these things safe is really the key difference, and it really is worth paying the extra for. So how does it work? Well, it really is quite simple. To start the generator, we've got some unleaded fuel in there. We open the breather on the fuel cap to allow the air to flow into the tank. We turn the power on. We open our fuel line and we pull out the choke. And that's basically it. Then we just pull the cord. We push the choke in as soon as it starts. Now what it does is it starts right up and then it steps down to a warm-up level. It'll run this way for 2 or 3 minutes until the engine's warmed up, and then it'll drop right down to idle. Now we can start using it straight away. The green power light's on, it tells us that it's ready to deliver its power. And once we start using it, we'll plug it in. Now that it's got devices running off it, and everything you can see here is currently running on it, including the fridge, it'll adjust its power requirements with the engine speed to make sure that everything gets what it needs. Now, in the unlikely event that you overload it, it won't damage any of your devices here. It won't cause a surge or a spike, which would be bad news for a laptop computer. It'll just switch off. And that's not going to hurt your laptop, that's not going to hurt your battery charger. So the only things that are likely to do that are something like a kettle or a toaster on a 1000 watt generator like this one. You need to run kettles and toasters, then you need to get a bigger one, maybe a 2500 or a 4000 watt generator. But we found on our trip this did the job fine, and we just used the gas stove for the kettle and for the toaster, and we were fine. In the event that we get a bit excited and plug our kettle in and forget that it's not able to deal with it, the generator speeds up, it tries to deal with it, it's going to figure out I can't cope, too much power, it'll overload, trip the circuit, and it'll slow back down again. The motor will keep running, but basically it's not putting out any power now. A little overload light tells us that it's overloaded, and all we have to do is simply turn it off. That resets the circuit, start it again, and we're back in business. So really it is nice and safe. When we set up a base camp for a while, we used this little battery charger just to keep the car batteries topped up to make sure that we always had plenty of juice when we needed it. And this just runs off the normal 240 volt plug off the generator. So that was a nice simple way to do it. But in the event that we did flatten the car battery and we're out in the middle of nowhere and we really got to get it started, we can use the generator as a battery charger. It comes with this cable which plugs in down here. It's got 2 little alligator clips on the end. You put them on your battery. You simply run the generator as normal, except instead of having it on economy mode, you turn the economy mode off. It'll run at full revs and it'll put out 8 amps, which is enough to put enough juice in your battery in a few hours, which will start your car. Now, being a 4-stroke and being Yamaha, this is a quiet generator, but ultimately you want to make it as quiet as possible. So what I do is use a 30 or a 50 metre extension cord and put the generator as far away from camp as I can get it. Now obviously that depends on where you camped. If you're in a national park and there's other campers around you, well, you don't go and put it in their camp unless you are asking for trouble. But if you have the opportunity to go and put it in the bush, then that's what you do. You put it behind a tree or over a little incline, and you'll find that you'll barely even hear it. And not everybody's as honest as you and me. So it's a good idea to do what we did and use your recovery chain or some other high tensile or strong chain through the handle and around a tree or around the bull bar, that'll keep your generator nice and safe. Servicing a generator like this one is mostly about keeping the oil changed and checking the spark plug. It comes with a spark plug tool, and it's quite easy to change the oil. So when you buy a generator, buy a few litres of oil and you'll be set for years. Now the real enemy of a generator like this one is dirty fuel. Dust and grit and anything in your fuel that's going to get blocked on the way through, that's the sort of trouble you really don't want out in the bush. So the best idea is to make sure that you keep the filter in the tank and pour the fuel into it when you're filling it up. Keep that clean. And also just think about how you store your fuel. You know, if you're using a dirty old jerry can like this one that's been sitting in the garage for 10 years and is, you know, quite probably rusty and scaly inside, well then you're really asking for trouble. So when you get a new generator, get yourself a new fuel can and keep the fuel turned over at a regular basis. I mean, it's unleaded fuel, so for the end of your trip you've got some left over, just stick it in your car and use it up, and then you should be right. And that's about all I can tell you. You know, this generator performed beautifully for us. 16 months, 46,000 kilometres, many days of continuous operation, and it didn't give us any trouble at all. So it really is an advantage to have something like this, which is small, it's light, you can easily find a spot for it in your trailer, in your caravan, and you've got power on tap.